to do what Pastor asked me to do, a brief meditation, ending in 2018, going into 2019. Well, here we are once again, Cornerstone. We're once again at the end of another year. We find ourselves once again gathered in this place of worship with our arms outstretched and our voices lifted, giving thanks to God for yet another year on this earth. A simple glance at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and other social media platforms gives us a visual image of the new places we have traveled to, the new foods we have tasted, the new friends we've been introduced to, and the many new ways God finds to bless us. The stereos in our cars are tuned in to our favorite radio stations, listening to the new chart-topping hits. On that note, I'm confident that 2019 won't lead to an argument of who the king of R&B is. We know the true king of R&B has written and produced over 26 #1 R&B hits. Y'all know him as Kenneth Brian Edmonds, or known as Babyface. That's the king of R&B. But I digress. A year can bring about fun and spontaneous debates about music, artists, and other topics chronicled on Twitter, Black Twitter, and whatever other Twitters are out there. A year can bring about the joys of the newness of life being birthed into existence. A year can bring pride to parents as they watch their children grow into adulthood, functioning as productive citizens in a world by taking the guidance they have received from their parents. In essence, a year can bring great moments of joy to many people. Yet I'd be failing you, Cornerstone, in my duties of a pastoral care minister by not addressing those people who have had a year filled with heartache and blues. In many cases, a year is represented by finding loved ones who no longer have breath in their bodies. A year can be clouded with the discovery that some of our body's cells begin to divide without stopping and spreading to surrounding tissues. Doctors call that cancer. A year can reveal that two hearts that were joined in matrimony are no longer joint in their expressions of love, and divorce papers are filed. A year can exasperate the weight and pressure of anxiety and depression that many people feel, yet they hide behind their smile that everyone tells them to have, despite the very real pain that life has presented to them. It is to these hurts that I'd like to present to you a phrase: let there be light. Let there be light. This is a short phrase. This phrase that we hear in church is generally accompanied with talks of the creation of earth. However, I'd like to briefly analyze this phrase from a different perspective that can give hope to the hopeless, that can bring a smile to the sorrowful, and create a praise within the painful. Let there be light. We first see this phrase in our biblical text in the first book, in Genesis. The author of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 3 and 4, in the King James text writes, "And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God divided the light from the darkness." We traditionally know this as this creation of light to be the foundation of the creation of the world, as understood by the scriptures told in Genesis. Yet to give hope to a hurting world, it is necessary to look at what happened before the command of light was given. Before the command of light is given, Genesis describes the world as being in a bit of a precarious predicament. The Message Bible speaks to the earth as being a soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, and an inky blackness. The Contemporary English Version speaks to the earth as being barren with no form of life and being under a roaring ocean. How in the world did earth, a place bursting with possibilities and expectations of life, a place that God has created, be in this situation? I like to suggest one simple thing that happened: time. The year had done to the earth what a year can do to people. The soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, and the inky blackness are all hallmarks of that fresh new scent wearing off over time. Those 2018 promises and resolutions we made slowly, and if we're honest, some of them very quickly, began to dissolve as the calendar moved from January to some of us wondered, how in the world did we get here to December? Well, no longer prolonging this current state of despair as described in the scripture, I told you that there was some hope in this message. Let there be light can be seen as a pivot point. God commands light to shine on the world and moves the world from a season of darkness into a season of light. The light is not just the start of a new season, it's the active voice of God speaking transition from nothing to substance, from a bottomless emptiness to a never-ending fulfillment, from an inky blackness to being washed white as snow. So as we celebrate the coming of the new year, family, I won't tell you that the next year will be your best year. I won't tell you that every resolution you have will be resolved. I will, however, encourage you that if you're swimming in the pit of nothingness and you feel as if you dwell in a space of a bottomless emptiness and your sight is blinded by an inky blackness, know that God is speaking life into your life. God is speaking a transition into your life to move you from being in a world that's empty into a world that's being full with the light and love of God. It's okay to weep, Cornerstone, for weeping only endures for a night. But joy comes in the morning light. So Cornerstone, let there be light in your life in 2019. Let there be light.